Alright, so a friend of mine, Cole Hawk, came up with an amazing idea of asking you guys to come up with a change or an addition to Splatoon 3. An idea, something returning, a balance, just one thing, but the first person who replies gets to add a twist. So this is basically the pick your superpower, but the first person to reply gets to pick a side effect thing. But for Splatoon! So we're gonna go through the best of your guys' responses and say what I think about them. Berg the Ice says you can now missile your teammates. The downside being that it heals them for half the damage the missile would have done. So this is the first one where it's not really a downside, it's kind of a rework in the idea of having missile to heal your teammates. And I honestly don't really hate it, but at the same time I don't really like it either, and I don't like healing stuff, so I don't have many positive opinions toward it. I think it would be better than current state missile, but also would make current missile better, and missile is just not that great in the first place, so let's not do that. The results of ranked matches show the amount a player contributed to the objective, like rode the tower X distance, threw X amount of clams, or the amount of turf painted exclusively in the splat zone. Yes, what a fantastic change everybody wants, but it will come at the cost of you cannot see your kills, assists, deaths, or specials. Only objective stats, we need nothing else. Honestly, hot take here, this is actually a bad idea to, like, completely display objective stats. I think that's one you would keep on the app, because doing objective is important, but if you show it as, like, the most important stat, you'll have people who just farm objective time and pick up the Rainmaker and sit with it for a minute, giving the other team special charge, so yeah, not a fan. It's definitely a stat that you should have some form of access to. I'm not trying to say that, but it should not be something that's like, yes, you are good if you do this. Lanky says the ability to change main ability on a gear piece and or have repeat clothing items with different main abilities. So like having a shirt with a interchangeable main ability, or being able to change the main ability without having to go through the contorted process of ordering gear. However, you can only buy 10 pieces of gear, ever, including repeats. So you can only own, like, what, 3 hats, 3 shoes, 3 shirts, and then you get 1 extra of each of those? I mean, it depends. If you're a one trick, like you only play 1 weapon, then yeah, it should be fine. I mean, theoretically, you should still have 3 builds, and you can change the main ability on the same piece of gear. So you should still be able to have infinite gear sets, but just limited to 3 drips plus 1 extra piece of gear. I think it's arguably worth it. I would make 3 pieces of gear for everything. I think that would be fine. I don't think it's that bad. So I'd take this personally, but I think for most people, and you want to change up your fashion a bit, yeah, probably, but I'm probably gonna stick with the looks I have in 2, so. Kale says, shot deviation / jump RNG barely exists, and weapons are tuned to be more skill-based than previously. However, it's at the cost that all weapons that get this buff become more ink-hungry as a result. This is one of the few ones where I'm gonna be like, this is just straight up a good change for the game. I think more ink-hungry weapons, but less RNG weapons is generally a positive change for the game. There's definitely some weapons where you can't do this, but as a whole, for the majority of things in the game, this is just straight up a positive change. You reduce the output, so annoying things don't have to exist as much, there's more downtime between them, and your weapons are more accurate. Sure. Gina X Kip says, a vanity, basically a layer where you could put a wardrobe on your character that'll wear on top of your normal gear so you can be stylish and have good abilities without having to grind too much. So this is what I want for the Splatfest tee, and I think it would also work if we had something like a jersey. Something you could wear over your shirt, and then you would have the same abilities as that shirt. That's what most people want for the Splatfest tee. It could be great for org jerseys like this, for like teams, etc. So, great idea for the game. I don't know if I'd want it for all the pieces of gear, because that's kind of the whole point of gear, but I think for stuff like the Splatfest tee, that's absolutely what people want. The downside here being it's an Amiibo exclusive, which I think is fair, and I think the Amiibo gear is actually one of the best chances to fit like this. Maybe not exactly, but I'm of the opinion that the Amiibo exclusive gear should be able to change their main abilities. These are literally, like, paying extra money for this gear. Why do I have to be stuck with the main of bomb defense on the Pearl Crown? It's such a nice piece of gear, but I will never wear it because the main ability for it is near completely useless in terms of actual good gear sets. If it's only for Amiibo gear, fine, whatever. That's fair to me. But the Amiibo gear deserves better than this. Yes, absolutely. Good tick rate, but bad frame rate. Yeah, basically, refresh rate, that stops, like, if you've ever seen someone walk off a wall and then just teleport back on top of it, or, like, off a ledge, that's tick rate. Splatoon 2's tick rate is bad. However, frame rate is frame drops. I don't think it's worth it. The tick rate sucks, but it is somewhat deal-withable. A bad frame rate will just prevent your ability to play the game, especially if you use something like Brella. It's been an absolute pain to me, but I can also see it being a problem for something like Tetra, so yeah, that'd be a problem. Tent says, to be honest, I kind of want a day-night cycle. Could also do special soundtracks or decorations. So like a day, night, morning, evening, like a good bit of rotations during the day. However, the day-night cycle follows Japanese time, and 1 hour in-game is 1 hour in real life. So basically, a lot of the times, you're forced to play at night. I actually am not a fan of this. I think night mode makes it way harder to see everything, and stages need really good lighting. So for the most part, I honestly don't like it. Like, if I have to play Turf War in a competitive setting, I will tell people not to do the night mode. And that's the same problem with Splatfest colors. They're cool, but some of them literally make it harder to see. And visual clarity is important. So I think the night mode is cool for Splatfest, cool for PBs. I would love to see it for ranked modes in private battles, but not outside of that. I wouldn't want it in any competitive or normal setting. The input delay gets reduced from 6 back to 3 frames like in Splatoon 1. I believe specifically this is for motion delay, which yes, in Splatoon 1, motion controls were more responsive. The downside being, the lobby crashes whenever you press 2 buttons at once. Obviously, not very worth it there. That is an unfortunate side effect that pretty much kills any chance of that being a thing we would want to put in the games. Bimo says, an offline turf war. Like, you fight against rival Octolings, and you have rival Octolings on your team, and based on your level, you can choose the difficulty. You don't gain experience or coins. I think you should be able to gain tickets or something in an offline mode, but okay. And we're ignoring the last one because I said one thing. However, I did choose this one because the downside is it has a salmon run on launch schedule. So Salmon Run is not available at certain times, and at the start, it was even worse. And yes, that is exactly something I feel like Nintendo would do. So I think that's a very solid, fitting twist to an offline turf war. Sure, you could do it, but only at certain times, because you. That's Nintendo. Meta says the Dynamo Roller has a gimmick where it can start increasing its speed while rolling until it's as fast as Octobrush. The actual downside is if you run into a wall at high speed, starting around carbon speed, you'll do a unique crashing animation that locks you in place for 3 seconds and your roll speed is reset. Doesn't matter that your roll speed is reset, if you're locked in place for 3 seconds, you die. Very funny downside. If rolling was ever really good, a whole wall crashing thing would definitely be unique. I don't think this fits on Dynamo whatsoever, but it's funny, so I'll give it props for that. That one banana says if they return food and drinks in the new game, then maybe they can add a feature so we have both a food and a drink at the same time. And the downside is Krusty Sean is f***ing dead. Like, what? This is the most random one I got, so I'm including it just because of that. I don't know why, I don't know what. This guy just doesn't like Krusty Sean, I guess, so yeah. Make it part of the story and it's worth it. Anyway, that's all I could cover in this video. I'll see you guys in part 2, bye!